least 50 people have been killed following weeks of unrest in Peru. Protests have ignited over the Peruvian president's removal and arrest last month. CBS News correspondent Christina Ruffini is here with us in Studio 57 to break this all down, because this has been sort of discontent that has been simmering for a while.
That's right. Good morning, guys. It's actually called an autogolpe, or a self-coup. And detractors of Peru's former president Pedro Castillo call it an illegal power grab when he tried to dissolve Congress. But the response to his arrest hasn't been what you might expect, with protesters taking to the street despite the new president's call for calm.
After more than 30 days of violent and sometimes deadly clashes, Peru is under a state of emergency. Demonstrators have blocked roadways and shut down runways, with protesters hurling rocks and fury at security personnel, who've pushed back with brutal and sometimes deadly force. The protest began after the impeachment of former President Pedro Castillo in December, after he tried to dissolve Congress by decree in a power grab and form an emergency government. His vice president and former political ally, Dina Boluarte, took over, but Castillo's supporters, who see him as a champion of poor and indigenous Peruvians, stuck with him.
Peru is a divided country, racially, economically, geographically.
Eric Farnsworth, vice president of the Council of the Americas, says frustrations have expanded beyond the presidency. And the pandemic only exacerbated those divisions, especially in Peru, which had the highest per capita death rate from COVID in the world.
It showed people who could get things like vaccines, some people who could work from home versus a lot of people in the informal economy who didn't have that luxury. This has turned into a general dissatisfaction protests in Peru against the government, against inequality, against unfairness.
Now, of course, this unrest in Peru comes after big protests in Brazil, Bolivia, and elsewhere in South America, as trust in institutions, not only in the region but around the world, struggles to recover following the pandemic and the following economic downturns.
Yeah, when I said simmering for a while, I was thinking about the reaction to the pandemic. And then I was in Peru sort of almost last year, April. And at that time, it was the price of gas that was sending people into the streets. And they wanted the government to do something. And here you had in Pedro Castillo, a former school teacher, somebody who they expected to be a man of the people.
Who they thought had their best interests in heart, and they thought they were going to see changes in their lives. And we're seeing this in a couple different countries. And frankly, these leaders might have been able to make a difference, but COVID and the economies and the unrest has really made it more difficult, and frustration is just at an all-time high.
Yeah. So, other than a state of emergency, what is the government doing?
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop the violence and control. You've seen there's airports that have been shut down. There's roads that have been shut down. These protests, they're protesting around the prison that's holding Castillo. So they're trying to calm the protests. But as you've seen, the harder they push forward, the more they get pushed back. And so far, we haven't seen any sign that it's calming down and that they're making any progress.
So I guess the question for people who are sort of watching this from the outside is this just simply about the removal of the president, this auto coup, or are there other things that people want to see in their government?
There's other things. Look, we talked a little bit about in the piece, but Peru was just decimated by COVID. They have the highest per capita death.
I was shocked when I saw that, Christina, this morning. I didn't realize
highest per capita death of any country. So what it really did is, I've been, but I've only been to Quito, which is the capital. It's lovely. It's very built up. There's all these, fashionable restaurants. That is not the case for the rest of the country. And there's this real have and have-nots. And those divisions were really brought to light during the pandemic, with people not able to get vaccines, not able to go to their jobs, not able to feed their families. And then they're looking at places like the cities in the capital where these elites in their mind are just living their normal lives, and they're frustrated. So it started about the president, and it's kind of spilled over into, as you mentioned, gas prices, food prices, employment, healthcare, all of the above.
It is also something that's interesting in your piece that you point out, which is that Peru is racked, like a lot of countries, but with racial divisions, economic divisions, the gap between the rich and the poor. And I don't think people, when they think of Peru, they think of that because they might imagine that it's a homogenous country, but in fact, it is not anywhere near that. It's sort of like Brazil.
It's not. And I'm sorry. And I just said Quito. And I meant Lima. Sorry. Wrong capital. Apologies.
We knew.
Apologies. I don't want people at home think I don't know which country.
I did for a second think to myself, wait, did they change the capital?
No, it's just early, and I apologize.
It's an early morning.
No, it's all of the above, and it's a problem. One of the first questions I've been getting asked by everybody is this going to cause more migration, right? Are we going to see Peruvians starting to show up at our southern border?
You don't see a lot of that.
It's unlikely at this point, and it's not likely going to be the fallout from Brazil or some. The problem is it's a knock-on effect, right? And it's greater regional instability, and that has implications not only for migration, but for regional stability, for security, and this is all in America's backyard. And the other issue is America's ability to say, hey guys, don't do that, uphold democracy, has waned, and it's a harder sell after things like January 6th, after our own political and racial divides. We've lost a bit of the high ground. So a lot of the officials I've said are, when they go and try to make these arguments for democracy, they're not landing quite the way they used to be.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Christina, always great to have you in studio.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here.
New Year. All right.